Today I'll be reviewing Pokemon Sun and Moon episode 55 and 56. So, Happy New Year's to, or Happy New Year to whenever you're watching this. This is my last Pokemon Sun and Moon review of the year. And yeah, this episode was pretty bad for the last episode of the year. Like, come on. Anyone remember those X and Y like holiday specials episodes that they used to have? They should have done one of those. But it's kind of like summertime in Alola, so wouldn't really make sense. Anyways, so yeah, one of these episodes was really bad. You guys probably already know which one I didn't like. And then this episode, episode 55, was great. So it was kind of strange though, but I'll get into that. So episode 55 is called Thank You Solgaleo Arnebi. This episode was Professor Kukui's and Professor Burnett's wedding. And men, take notes because you gotta do like Professor Kukui. Because you can't be any cooler proposing than pulling out the ring out of the Pokeball. Like, come on. Just have your Pokeball ring custom made and ready now. Anyways, that aside, let me go and get into the review. So the episode starts off with Ash missing Solgaleo because it's gone and wonders where it is. It was nice seeing that he actually cares for Solgaleo and it's not like, oh, it's gone. Too bad, it's all good. So that was nice seeing that. And then Lily comes back after apparently being gone for a while and says that Lucamine is doing fine, even though in the game she had to go to Bill in the Kanto region and get a cure for Lucamine. So I don't know how Lucamine's fine in the anime, but in the game she had to go to Kanto to get a cure from Bill. And that's just kind of a anime plot hole. Anime logic, I guess, friendship is the reason she's fine. Because we can talk to our Pokemon and tell them to dodge, Lucamine is fine. Anime logic to a T. That aside, we get to one of the better moments this episode, or one of the best moment, or a highlight of this episode, you could say, is when Professor Kukui and Bernard are walking on the beach, and she says that they both think alike, and he agrees. So she asks him what she's thinking about right now, and he acts like he's not sure, and she just wants him to admit defeat. Then they both like cross each other's path, and then she turns around and says, "I choose you." And Kukui points a Pokeball at her, and she's confused because she's confessing her feelings. And Kukui turns around looking like he wants a Pokemon battle, but in actuality, he turns the Pokeball around and like pulls out the ring. And I'm like, best proposal in Pokemon ever. I think it's the only one we've seen, but it's without a doubt the best. Like, it's probably the best proposal I've seen all year. I've seen another one in One Piece, and yeah, that turned out to be terrible. But this is actually going to turn out to be great. Anyways, then they decide to go inside and tell Ash, who is happy for them. He even gives Professor Burnett a hug. And the next day, he tells his friends about it at the Pokemon school, and they decide to get them a gift. And the kind of gift they're gonna give them is a wedding ceremony. So they get cards, invite people. Mallow's dad makes the food. The pancake lady with the Alolan Raichu is gonna bake a cake or a pancake. And then we get another important walk during this episode, and that's Ash meeting Gladion on the beach. And before Ash can say anything about their wedding, Gladion stops him and says that he's gonna go on a journey too, because he can't just sit quietly after seeing Ash and Pikachu use the 10 million volts Thunderbolt. And Ash says that he's gonna go on an island journey too and take on the trials and the grand trials. I'm like, no, you're not. You're gonna stay here on Melly Melly Island doing nothing. So Gladion said trials and grand trials, but the only trial I've seen is the one that Olivia, aside from the grand trials, I've seen Olivia use Malo to kind of give Ash a trial, and I guess Lana took on the water trial that she kind of owns in the game. So I guess he's really just out doing the grand trials. Unless they finally decide they want to introduce all the other island captains, yeah, he's not going to really be doing much. So the next day, Ash wakes up and Professor Kukui is surprised that Rowlet's actually awake and Ash in the morning. So Ash walks him upstairs to see his beautiful fiance, Professor Burnett, in a wedding dress. And after this episode, we all have to admit we know Burnett is definitely first place as Pokemon Sun and Moon's best wife. There's just no question about it. Nothing more can be said after today, unless Olivia and Lucamine somehow want to take first and second place again. After that, we get the wedding ceremony, and they just Team Rocket. We also see Team Rocket, who don't actually care. Then at the wedding, Ash is the ring bearer, and he's just there shaking. And then Professor Kukui and Burnett kiss, but we don't see that because this is Sun and Moon and Pokemon. If they didn't show it in X and Y, or in X, Y, and Z, Ash and Sarita, they definitely weren't going to show it in Sun and Moon. Then after that, Fabo apologizes, but I don't forgive him because, once a scumbag, always a scumbag. And if they're going to, use the Ultra Sun and Moon plot, yeah, he still has some more scumbaggery to be done. Then we get to another important plot point in this episode, and that's Lucamine asking Ash and his friends to join the Ultra Guardians so that they can capture Ultra Beasts, since it's easier for them to enter Alola now. I'm guessing it's easier for them to enter Alola since Solgaleo's just been running through lately. And there's this moment with Lily, and she has a slight bit of hesitation, but then she's just like, yeah, I'm in it too. That was obvious. It wouldn't make sense for her to say no after all the character development they gave her. I'm also guessing that this Ultra Guardian squad is going to be the anime's version of the Ultra Recon squad. I really wanted them to introduce the Ultra Recon squad in the anime, but it looks like we're probably not going to get that. Anyways, then Professor Burnett throws the bouquet in the air, and apparently whoever catches it is the next one to get married. And Olivia catches it, so our destiny is secured. Rest in peace, everybody else. Anyways, jokes aside, then we get to what was supposed to be the center focus of this episode, I think. Because Ash notices Nebby in the sky, and they say goodbye to it. And then he wonders if he'll ever see it again, and Kukui says that Nebby is their Solgaleo. And in less than 1 minute, all of our Nebby scenes in this episode are done. So, the title has Nebby in it, and yet Nebby didn't really play a part in this episode. The episode is literally titled Thank You Solgaleo R. Nebby, and we see it for less than 30 seconds. Why didn't they put Kukui and Burnett's name in the title? I don't know. But if this episode, aside from the Kukui and Burnett stuff, I'd honestly give this episode a really bad score based on how little we actually got of Professor Burnett. I mean, Solgaleo, because I'm saying Professor Burnett because we got more of her than we did Solgaleo. We're actually looking at Solgaleo from a distance too. He doesn't even come down. We just see him running across the sky for who knows what, and he's just there. Felt like they decided to put him in this episode last minute just because of what they did in the beginning. That makes no sense at all. At this point, it kind of just feels like the Pokemon Company are trolling us with this BS because they're too insecure about being predictable. Hence why we don't have Pokemon Stars or even Pokemon Z. Say you're watching this episode in no one's gonna watch Sun and Moon in 5 years. Say you're watching this episode in a year or two, or you're just catching up, or you just wanted to see this one episode someone told you about. You'll scroll through all the episode lists of Sun and Moon so far, and you won't find anything with Kukui or Burnett in the title. You're gonna be like, what episode did they get married? Was it in this? You won't know because this episode is titled Solgaleo, Thank You Solgaleo, R. Nebby. You're not gonna think Professor Kukui and Burnett at all. And one more thing I want to point out about this episode, I enjoyed it. It was a good episode. Aside from that Solgaleo stuff, I think it would have been better suited for another episode. The Ash and Solgaleo thing, and Ash talking to Gladion. I feel like those two could have been in an entire episode by themselves, instead of sticking them in the episode that should have been titled and completely focused on Professor Kukui and Professor Burnett's wedding, because we've never had anything like this in Pokemon, and you could at least make the title something that we could remember it with. They could do that in the English dub or the dubs for other countries, but I doubt it. They do change it up sometimes completely, though. Other than all my gripes I have with the episode, I give it a 7 out of 10. So yeah, it was a pretty good episode overall. If you ignored the title, I probably would have given it a higher number. But yeah. So now for episode 56. It's called A Strong Sleeper, Komala's Secret. If you haven't seen this episode, skip it. It's just more BS Sun and Moon filler on Mele Mele Island. I really hate this island. It's not the island itself. I have nothing against the island. It's the fact that Ash is always here. People fall in love with Pokemon for the adventure. Well, the anime for the adventure. Not staying in one place, doing some random thing in the Pokemon school every day. Now, if I wanted to watch a show where the students are the main characters and they do stuff in their school every day, I would stick to My Hero Academia because that's what they do. and they have an excuse for being inside school all the time because it's supposed to be a school environment for the show, but not Pokemon. And what happened to graduating like never before? There's nothing special going on so that he would graduate like never before. Rant aside from this part of the review, let me just go into the episode and mention some things I thought were okay in the episode or pretty good. So I enjoyed seeing the two professors interacting. We didn't really get much of it before they were married. We kind of just knew they were going to be married based on how the game goes, and so we kind of just rolled with it. But we get to see them interacting, and the narrator even points out how those two living together are going to affect how Ash and the others, like, basically it's gonna affect Ash and his friends at the Pokemon school. I'm hoping they kick him out. Professor Kukui kicks him out and says something like, "A young kid like you needs adventure." So hopefully Ash decides to go on a journey like how Gladion is gonna do, and he takes Lily with him because they're the only ones the Sun and Moon anime really cares about. Considering Lily gets an entire arc, and the others get like small episodes that basically feel like fillers sometimes. So I think it'd be pretty cool to see Ash and Lily go on a journey and travel around with whatever's left of Alola, since Ash hasn't really gone anywhere aside from Melee Melee. Anyways, at the Pokemon school, they were actually doing battle practice, which would have been great for their character, but Komala shows up and just stops all of that. And suddenly they all want to know why it's always sleeping instead of battling. So Ash decides to yell at it, and then Professor Oak shows up to give its Pokédex entry, and then a backstory on how they met and why it always rings the bell. Then we get a bit of Team Rocket, who actually remember their purpose in the series of Pokemon, which is to hunt powerful Pokemon or to capture powerful Pokemon for Giovanni. So we also see James, and he has like this image of a giant lizard dragon looking Pokemon. I'm wondering if they're hinting Gen 8 Pokemon with that. That's just a small thought. I'm not gonna drag out the video by talking about what this possibly could be. Anyways, then Beware grabs them, Jigglypuff puts them to sleep. Then we get to Ash battling Komala and the others, and it's just dodging it with its Ultra Instinct. I could see the videos on YouTube already. They have a Shaggy one from Scooby-Doo. What's to say Komala doesn't already have one? Anyways, then Ash says that they should make Rowlet try battling it to see if it can attack while it's sleeping. And Professor Oak decides he wants to take his shirt off, and he has a Dusknoir face on his chest. So that was kind of awkward, but I like how they have that, but they don't have Professor Burnett and Professor Kukui's kiss from their wedding in the anime. So the Rowlet idea doesn't work, so then Jigglypuff shows up and starts singing. Then everyone goes to sleep and just wakes up, and then they wake up, and then they want to know why Kamala didn't fall asleep or have its face drawn on. And then we just keep getting a repeat of them falling asleep, waking up with drawings on their face. And Rotom just records it to see what's happening. And the episode basically ends like this. Jigglypuff ends up getting its face drawn on by Komala, and apparently Jigglypuff likes its face being drawn on, so it just flies off and leaves. And the episode ends. That episode wasn't even worth a rank, but let me know what you thought of it. Maybe you somehow got tired of the action episodes and thought that was a great change of pace. But not me. But anyways, for the preview for the next episode, it looks like there's going to be another Rotom. But what really interests me is that we see Marshadow in it, and I'm wondering if Ash is going to meet it, or if, since, Marshadow's in the movie, but that movie isn't really part of the Sun and Moon story, I guess that they're going to introduce all the legendaries through the Sun and Moon anime. So I'm really hoping to see how they're going to, get this done, if Marshadow is going to be a part of the story for a while, if we're going to get an arc on it. I'm just really excited to see what they can do with this, because Sun and Moon has really slowed down in this past episode compared to what it was before. But I'm guessing we're going to get more filler on Melee Melee Island. And I can't really talk about what's going to happen for the next episode, because I haven't really seen much. I just seen Marshadow in the preview for a few seconds. But let me know what you guys thought of this episode in the comment section below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share the video if you can. Thanks for watching, and bye.